Come with us as we return to Copenhagen and visit the recently reopened Carlsberg Brewery tour, with all new multimedia interactions complementing the original historical elements, where there is more beer than in most men's dreams, and even a church in a beer cellar. And we'll show you how to get your own personalised bottle, but touring all this history and culture is just a good excuse to sample the goods. Plus we'll show you this hidden gem of a historic neighbourhood. So could this be the best thing to do in Copenhagen? Probably. So we are back in Copenhagen, here to explore even more of this fabulous city. So make sure you subscribe to follow our Copenhagen series, where we will also be bringing you our review of the impressive Man-on-the Suites, a hotel that's all over social media, but no one seems to have actually stayed at, which was close to Central Station. So 2 metro stops and a short walk later, we arrived at something we missed during our last visit. Here we are at the Carlsberg Brewery tour. Now this was actually closed. If you follow any of our earlier videos, our first Copenhagen series we did, we came down and did the Carlsberg Bar Historic District, but couldn't come here. And the reason is it's now recently reopened as a whole new exhibit, not just a brewery tour, but much more of a multimedia experience. So if you've ever been to like the Guinness Storehouse in Dublin, probably more along the lines of that from what it looks like, but we'll go in and check it out. The self-guided tour takes around 90 minutes and costs between 180 and 210 Danish kroner, which is about 20 to 23 pounds sterling or 24 to 28 US dollars.
Skål. So, skål.
Skål.
Yeah, we call this home of Carlsberg because this is where it all began. This is our home. It all began in 1847, where we brewed our first beer here. And we're still doing that today. That also means that right now we're standing in the very original grain storage, which dates back to 1867.
And welcome to Carlsberg. My name is Jacob Christian Jacobsen, and I'm the founder of this brewery. What is a brewer? Once the simple answer, a man who makes beer, was enough. Perfection is impossible. And I will answer, probably.
How do you do? I am Carl Jacobsen, and I am the son of the founder, the Carl in Carlsberg. You will wonder, naturally, what it was like to have a father who was never satisfied.
The experience faithfully brings to life the story of father and then son, whose passions for both science and the arts have defined the Carlsberg brand. So on your wristband, if you scan here, you can go to one of these interactive tablets here, and it allows you to customize yourself into some artwork. Choose your various hair, clothes, facial hair and all the rest of it. Now the new brewery experience is pretty much everything on the right hand side of this map and the site of the original distillery. But make sure you watch this video to the end, where we explore the other half, which is far more architecturally impressive and the best hidden gem in Copenhagen.
And when fire destroyed it, 20 years later, it was indeed a terrible blow.
But like the proverbial phoenix, the brewery rose again with even more innovations.
All the latest technology, using advances in cooling equipment to make even better beer.
I simply felt that our beer did not need as long to mature.
This was cutting corners.
No! It was something I had seen elsewhere.
And you wanted to call your beer New Carlsberg? What was I supposed to do?
I don't think you were supposed to take me to court. But you did! Your own son!
I thought you were trying to steal from me. And not just the name of my beer, but my reputation. Everything I'd worked for.
And although eventually did reconcile, the exhibit illustrates the relationship between father and son in a captivating and engaging way.
New Carlsberg. I had the best teacher after all. Pursue perfection, he would always say. So I did. We brewed wonderful beers that he would have disapproved of.
You are, after all, different men.
It is from this point that the focus of the tour then changes, with more emphasis on the history of production and the development of the Carlsberg brand itself, which wouldn't be complete without a look at some of their most iconic marketing campaigns and development of one of the most legendary marketing slogans ever. Probably. There is then a section on the Carlsberg Foundation and the science behind the brewing, before seeing the restored machinery from its industrial heritage. And it is worth noting, like many other sites like Guinness Storehouse and Jameson's Whiskey Distillery, videos of both you can also find on our channel. Production has long since ceased and moved to newer, more modern facilities, so the focus of these experiences is to preserve the history of production techniques and bring to life in the most interactive way possible. Now this would be described as some men's absolute heaven. And if you're enjoying this video, check out others in our Copenhagen series. But most importantly, we please ask that you hit that like and subscribe buttons. It really goes a long way in helping support this channel and bring you even more videos in the future. This feels like one of those corridors out in the Matrix. The only difference is it's all filled with beer and it just goes on and on and on. This might even be enough to convert me off wine to beer. Now you can use this interactive display to peruse the ridiculous amount of beers on display here, but most importantly you can also use it to customise your very own bottle of Carlsberg, which if you keep watching you can see us pick up later in this video in the gift shop. However, rest assured you'll find other machines there should you be too distracted on the tour or just want to do it later, and only pay when you pick up from the cash register.
The moment it hits your lips,
Your bright white foam. The cold, crisp kiss.
the satisfying look of your glass on theirs.
Is that what truly makes Carlsberg the best beer in the world? Probably.
Which wrap the tour up in suitably dramatic style, and after which you exit into this courtyard and head towards the Carlsberg Bar. If you will have seen our original Copenhagen vlog, you can't come here and not come to the statue of the Little Mermaid. What a lot of people don't realise is that Carl Jacobsen actually donated the statue to the city, and this is a replica here known as the Little Mermaid's little sister. Now this would usually be the end of the tour, but decided to do an optional add-on with an escorted guide. So I opted to do two things here. I did the normal interactive exhibit, which takes about 90 minutes to do, but then I also booked onto an additional historical tour. It takes about 30 minutes. That's if you're a bit more into the history of it and don't want to hear it from, interactive exhibits. You actually have a tour guide that takes you around to some of the areas a little bit more out of bounds, but most importantly, you get to go down into the cellars underneath the complex here. There's about 7 miles of them apparently. So again, if that's your thing, but I think for £10 extra, it's worth doing as well. So after exploring some additional buildings, it was time to head underground.
How old they are? Well, I tried a beer recently that it was brewed in 1990.
And even one of the cellars has been converted into its own chapel. Now, since my visit, the tour has already changed to an extended 50 minutes tour. But still great value at 120 Danish kroner, so £13 sterling or $16 US. It now includes a walking tour around the historic Carlsberg Beer district. However, we'll show you that shortly. So the most important part about the tour is you bring your little wristband into the bar at the end and you get to actually try and pull the goods itself. So
Yeah, perfect. We have the non-alcohol, we have the regular, or we have the 1883 as well.
You get your complimentary glass of beer. I went for the traditional Carlsberg, so skull. Now leaving the bar on the way to the gift shop, you pass through the working stable of the original draft horses. And although there are vintage trucks and carts on display, it is these magnificent creatures that everybody is interested in. So as you actually exit the bar, you come straight into the working stables, because at one time they had about 200 draft horses here, and they've kept a few here. They're exercised regularly and seem to be very, very well taken care of, to say the least. But definitely some of them are absolutely huge, but you'll see there's a little cute one in the corner that everyone seems a little bit distracted by. I don't think Otto should be pulling anything until he gets that fringe cut. He can't see a thing. These horses are definitely part of the establishment here. I mean, just check out the size of this saddle room in there. It's absolutely huge. And then there's round two as you leave towards the exit. Some of the carts that they used to draw. Now, if you watch our original Copenhagen video series, we came down to the Carlsberg Bar district. It is a little bit more out of the city centre, but is definitely worth the trek out here. I won't say trek, it's only 2 stops on the metro, really. But a lot of people won't come out here. It's just such a lovely historic area and there's such an amazing architect. But you will also see these elephants popping up, and the reason is just behind where all Carlsberg Bar is actually where Copenhagen Zoo is. There's lots of stories of the elephants being walked down through the streets here as well, and they paid homage to it with some nice elephants above the gate of the entrance to Carlsberg Bar. And with all good attractions, you end in the gift shop, but we were here to pick up our customised bottle of beer. And unfortunately, I have to narrate over this bit due to some very loud background music. However, I was not expecting my bottle to make such a theatrical entrance, reminiscent of Stars in Their Eyes. So one thing you can get to do on the tour is obviously customise your own bottle of beer. You can do a can, but come on, it's got to be a bottle, really. It's iconic. So yes, we did it, and it had to be done. And of course, what else could you do with it? You get to choose your catchphrase, so it had to be probably the best. Of course, went for here we are, our very own, probably the best daily departures. What else was it going to be? Which wrapped up our tour, but what did we think to all the enhancements of the experience, and was it worth the wait? So, Carlsberg Brewery tour, what did we think? Well, in short, absolutely fantastic and well worth a visit. Incredible value for money, £30 to do the upgrade to the historical tour, and you get a free drink in that. You got great architecture here and history mixed in with modern interactive exhibition, so the whole thing comes together really, really well. But don't just come here, come and explore the historic area of Carlsberg Bar. It really is a hidden gem within the city. It's not that far, and it's definitely worth the effort to come down and see. Now, the name of the restaurant to non-Danes might seem a little amusing, but actually translates to Food Club, and is the restaurant at the Carlsberg Brewery, which you can enter from a very nondescript entrance in the main courtyard. However, the main entrance on the street is far more impressive, as is inside with its extensive range of beers and restored brewing vats. However, there are no shortage of great restaurants all around this historic neighbourhood. So make sure you don't rush straight back into central Copenhagen, and plan some time to explore around this fantastic district. We'll put links at the end of this video, but please remember to subscribe to check out our earlier visit to Carlsberg Bar, where we explored taking in the characterful streets and amazing architecture, including these impressive gates guarded by the elephants I mentioned earlier. Well, last time we came down, we left just as it got to sunset, but this place is equally atmospheric at night. I mean, look at that. And I would recommend you do come in the daytime, as there is so much artistic detail around this neighbourhood that you will appreciate it more. Gasoline grill behind me is now lit up like a Christmas tree. That's actually a very well-known burger chain restaurant that's meant to be very, very good in Copenhagen. And behind us here is the Hotel Ortilia, and up on the top is Tramonto Rooftop, a great Italian. We covered both of those on our first ever series of videos in Copenhagen, so if you like the look of them, you know what to do. So we hope you've enjoyed our tour of the Carlsberg Brewery and a sneak peek at the Carlsberg Bar district. I'm not really a beer drinker, but would thoroughly recommend the Carlsberg experience to anyone coming to Copenhagen. So So look out for our next video where we review our stay at Manon Le Suite or our previous visit to Carlsberg Bar, both of which you can find in our Copenhagen series clicking here. But for now, thanks for watching and see you again soon.